right, Street Sweeper, let's go. Dude, the Street Sweeper in this game's insanely ridiculously strong until you start reloading it. And then, you know, it takes a year and a half to reload this bad boy. But all right, and welcome back, guys. And I might have actually been wrong about Zombie Chronicles 2. If you would have asked me at any point last year or even this year if I thought Cold War was getting any sort of remastered content, my response has always been no. I never thought any sort of Zombie Chronicles 2 or anything of those sorts would be coming out for Cold War. I always thought it was going to be the next Treyarch game, whether that be Cold War 2, Black Ops 5, Black Ops 6, we don't know what they're going to call it, but that's when I thought we would start seeing what people consider to be Zombie Chronicles 2 or just general remastered maps. But I'm always here going to admit when I'm wrong. It looks like we might actually be getting remastered content for Cold War, which I was completely wrong about. I never thought that was a possibility. Keep in mind, this is still rumored stuff, so everything we're going to talk about in this video isn't set in stone. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, and this could be wrong as well. And I still could have been right. There still might not be any sort of Zombie Chronicles 2 content coming for Cold War, but it's starting to look more and more likely like there might actually be some. Come on, Orta, come get a piece of this Street Sweeper, bro. You ain't ready. You ain't ready for it. Come on, come on. And there we go, just like that. Before this video, guys, I've only ever made one video about Zombie Chronicles before this, and it had a completely different tone. In the last video, we were talking about a tweet from Kevin Drew that came out about 3 or 4 months ago, where he said there was no plans for Zombie Chronicles in the work. However, people in the community constantly talking about Zombie Chronicles 2, hyping it up, stuff like that, is what made it more and more likely in the future, but it seems like that might have changed. I have at no point during Cold War's life cycle kind of expected us to get this, but there have been some recent tweets and some recent information that came out the last few days from very notable leakers that have kind of changed my mind. I really do think that it is now likely, and this is the first time in Cold War's life cycle that I've ever thought this could even be a possibility. Okay, Mimic, you're not fooling anyone. As always, if you guys want to keep fully up to date of any sort of zombie news, whether it be Cold War, Vanguard, or, you know, future zombie games, make sure you sub to the channel because we're always going to keep you guys fully informed. And on top of that, I got to give a massive thanks to everyone who's going to like, comment, and watch this video in its entirety because those three things massively help out this channel, and it's why we're able to grow as quick as what we have been. Okay, you got to go. You got to go. So if this does end up happening, let's talk about what maps would be involved, and it looks like it's going to be the Victus maps, the maps from Black Ops 2 that weren't originally involved in Zombie Chronicles 2. Origins was the only Black Ops 2 maps in the original Zombie Chronicles, still leaving Mob of the Dead, Buried, Die Rise, and Transit. I haven't seen anyone talking about Mob of the Dead, but I've seen a lot of things about Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. All these maps were the original, you know, Victus maps, and none of these got remastered with the original Zombie Chronicles, which would be super cool. Buried, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 best maps overall. Love the atmosphere, love all the different features, the Pack-a-Punch, the way it's done, the Paralyzer, so many cool wonder weapons in these maps. Obviously, Transit, you know, not a fan favorite map, and obviously Die Rise as well. Once again, Transit and Die Rise are normally considered to be some of the worst maps we've ever seen. A lot of mechanics in those maps that just make them not really super fun to play. They're very, very annoying maps, but I do love me some Buried. And that's one thing that I think about. When I think about these maps, do we want to see fully faithful remasters where they're the exact same map with no changes? Or do we want to see some of the stuff kind of changed up a little bit to make them more enjoyable? Or would the fact that they're in Cold War with all the Cold War perks and the Cold War mechanics make them more enjoyable? I don't know about Transit, dude, the building of the power and all the things you had to build in Transit and take them different places just to open pack made that map super annoying. I would kind of like to see them revisited, kind of like the Giant was, or even Classified. Classified, in my opinion, is a really good idea of what like a reimagined map would be. I prefer Classified over 5, and 5 was one of my all-time favorite maps. I would love to see with Transit, you know, an easier way to teleport, not having to build the stupid generator to open pack and then it only stay open for a little bit and then travel all the way across the map and rinse and repeat. Die Rise, I think, would be better just because it's in Cold War. One of the biggest issues with Die Rise is it didn't have PhD. The fact that you had to wait for the elevators in Die Rise made that map super annoying. Just having PhD would make Die Rise a 2 out of 5, a 6 out of 5. Or a 2 out of 5 would make it a 2 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10 right off the bat. Just adding PhD fixes most of the issues that people have with Die Rise. Like, that is one of the biggest issues. But yeah, that seems to be what's happening right now. A lot of notable leakers are talking about that. These are the same people who leaked the Vargo, WMD, all that sort of stuff. And it's not just zombies. There's a lot of MP maps that are also rumored. So obviously, we know about Jungle. Jungle's already in the code. Jungle's 100% happening. That is going to be coming out for Cold War at some point in the near future. However, fan favorite maps are also currently being talked about as well. That being Havana, Firing Range, Launch, Summit, and Grind. Summit and Firing Range, some of the best maps we've ever seen in the Black Ops series. Really, really love those maps, and I would love to see Cold War versions of those, but more importantly, I would love to see these in Onslaught. Could you imagine Summit in Onslaught? Even Firing Range, bro. Playing Zombies Firing Range sounds super sick. So if these come, hopefully they're not just MP maps. Hopefully they also bring these over to Onslaught as well. Okay, Orta, leave me freaking alone. I know I haven't mentioned it yet, but look at this camo, bro. This camo looks absolutely sick, especially in the dark. Unfortunately, if you weren't on during the Halloween event, you didn't get this, and this camo is no longer obtainable for the Street Sweeper, but it is a really cool Street Sweeper blueprint. But I know all this news seems really random. Coming out of nowhere, we went from not having any Zombie Chronicles 2, no remastered maps, to all of a sudden, there actually being the potential of Cold War getting more content. But if you step back and look at the current state of COD, it does make sense. So originally, they probably planned on having the next Treyarch game next year. So that was going to be the next Zombies experience, and that was going to bring in the new bundles, the new sales revenue, all that stuff. But then the Treyarch game got pushed back, and then they were probably like, all right, well, Vanguard, we'll just support Vanguard Zombies even longer to keep, you know, the steady stream of bundles being sold from zombie players in Vanguard. But then they looked at the numbers from Vanguard. I guarantee you, if you look at the numbers, whenever we got DLC 1 for Vanguard, the Terra Maledicta map, if you look at the sales from all the bundles around that time, and then you look at the sales of the bundles for the new Vargo in Cold War, even though that was simply a new weapon, I have a feeling that more bundles were sold in Cold War when the Vargo launched than the bundles for Vanguard, when the brand new DLC experience, new map, new Easter eggs, all that stuff. They probably made more money off adding one weapon to Cold War, and they're sitting there looking at it, and they're like, you know what? If we've got to sit here and make content for a zombies game over the next couple of years, why we wait for the next Treyarch game to come out? It doesn't make a lot of sense to put all this effort into Vanguard when they could put a single weapon into Cold War, and it outsells. Like, it does. And that is just speculation. I don't know the numbers, but even if you just look at the hype around the community, look at what happened with the Vargo. People were constantly asking about the Vargo, all that stuff. And then we even got a new Easter egg in Vanguard with the Season 2 Reloaded update, but no one even seemed to care about that. So it's definitely a clear choice. Cold War is just going to make them more money in this down year. So I can definitely see why they're kind of changing pace and being like, okay, maybe we'll slow down on Vanguard just a little bit because the bundle sales aren't there. The people aren't hyped about it. There's not really much going on with that, even we are making content for it. And Cold War just seems to be what's going to make them money. And that's going to be a pretty big deal because, I mean, Vanguard didn't meet expectations at all with sales numbers. Even Modern Warfare 2 looks like the release date's being pushed forward. So that might be why we're actually starting to see them doubling down on year 2 content, or maybe even year 3 content for Cold War to fill in that gap between the next Treyarch Zombies experience. Either way, I'm super happy for it. I'm not going to lie, me personally, I would way rather have more Cold War content compared to Vanguard. I know there's some people out there who actually really do enjoy Vanguard and the stuff coming out for it, but for me personally, a new Cold War map, a new Cold War weapon is just more exciting than anything that's been going on with Vanguard. Like, it took them 3.5 months for a pause feature, and it doesn't even work properly. It's very clunky, only works in solo, and you got a 2-hour limit on it. Like, that's the state of stuff going on with Vanguard. So any new content we get for Cold War, even if we don't get these new maps, just getting the Scythe and the SMG is super exciting. But bro, if we get a remastered map, if we end up getting like a remastered version of Buried, our Die Rise, our Transit, bro, that is going to be absolutely massive, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Out of all 3 maps that we've talked about, Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, which would you rather have remastered? Buried's definitely my favorite. 1000% Buried's going to be top of the list for me. One of my favorite maps of all time. And if you could choose things to be changed about the map, would you? Do you want these maps to be exactly the same that like they were in Black Ops 2, just with Cold War mechanics? Or do you want them to change some of the annoying stuff? I really want Transit to... One, I want the fog on, bro. Transit without fog, 10 times better right off the bat. And dude, remove all the stupid building from Transit. Transit, like, don't make me build the generator and then have it break and then go pick it back up. Like, nah, the building in Buried was so much better because in Buried, you didn't have to use any of the stuff you built. It was like a secondary thing. But in Transit, you had to use that generator for so many things. So yeah, let me know if you guys want the maps to be exactly the same or altered a little bit to potentially make them even more fun. But boys, that is the current state of things going on. It is starting to look like there is a potential for stuff coming to Cold War. and I am hyped. But keep in mind, this is all just rumors, and none of this might happen. It's just more likely now than it was a few weeks ago. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, we do have a Facebook page. We're uploading daily exclusive videos, and we got a secondary channel. We're uploading daily Minecraft, our COD mobile content. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching the entire video, and everyone who's became a Twitch sub or a YouTube member, and an extra special thanks to those who've taken above and beyond and became an Unlock Plus Plus member here on YouTube. We've got the 2x Trader Purple, the hero Arrow Pharaoh, the most OP Gobblegum ever, Round Robin, and the absolute legend Nick G.